Hello, intrepid explorers, and welcome back to Highland Explorer. Today we find ourselves not in the Highlands, but in the equally captivating North Yorkshire Moors National Park, gazing upon the majestic, if slightly wonky, Helmsley Castle. Now, I know what you're thinking, a rectangular castle, how dull. But trust me, this place is anything but. It's got history, intrigue, and enough quirky architectural features to make even the most jaded castle enthusiast raise an eyebrow. It's like a medieval architect looked at a perfectly good blueprint and said, "Nah, let's just draw a big rectangle and call it a day." But hey, who am I to judge? After all, this unconventional design has stood the test of time, unlike those circular castles that keep rolling away. So, hit the subscribe button, grab your imaginary pith helmets, and let's delve into the fascinating world of Helmsley Castle. First things first, a bit of a history lesson. This sturdy fortress was originally dreamt up by a chap named Walter Especk, way back in the 1120s. Now, Walter was a bit of an odd duck. He was a fierce warrior who also had a penchant for founding abbeys. Maybe he figured he needed somewhere to pray for forgiveness after all the battles he fought. Or maybe he just liked the peace and quiet after a long day of shouting orders and dodging arrows. Who knows? Anyway, unlike those trendy Mott and Bailey castles that were all the rage back then, Walter decided to go rectangular. Perhaps he was inspired by the shape of his breakfast toast, or maybe he just really liked right angles. Whatever the reason, this unusual choice made Helmsley stand out from the crowd of typical medieval fortresses. He built his wooden structure on a limestone outcrop, surrounded by not one, but two earth ditches. Talk about overkill. It's like he was expecting an army of particularly determined badgers to attack. Interestingly, the estate of Helmsley was originally granted to Robert, Count of Mortain, after the Norman conquest. But there's no evidence he ever built anything here. Maybe he just couldn't be bothered. Or maybe he lost the deeds in a game of cards. History is full of mysteries. Over the years, Helmsley Castle went through a bit of a makeover. Walter's wooden creation was eventually replaced with a rather swanky stone structure, complete with all the bells and whistles, towers, gatehouses, the works. It's like they took the basic shed and turned it into a luxury mansion. And speaking of towers, have a gander at this bad boy, the East Tower. It's impressive. People often mistake it for the keep, but Helmsley never actually had one. It's like building a house without a front door. Bizarre, but there you have it. This tower, built with sturdy limestone and sandstone, boasts walls a whopping 3 meters thick. That's thicker than a double chocolate cake. You could say this castle evolved over the centuries, with different architectural styles and additions reflecting the changing needs and tastes of its owner. It's a bit like that house down the street that's had so many extensions it looks like a giant jigsaw puzzle. One of the more interesting additions is the West Range, a rather grand Tudor mansion built by the Manners family. They clearly had a taste for the finer things. Now, this castle has seen its fair share of action. In 1644, during the English Civil War, it was besieged by those pesky parliamentarians, the Royalist garrison, led by a chap named Sir Jordan Crossland, held out for a whopping 3 months. They were probably living off stale biscuits and rainwater by the end. Can you imagine? "More gruel, my lord?" "No thank you, Giles. I'm still full from that rat I had for breakfast." Eventually, though, they had to surrender, and to add insult to injury, the parliamentarians decided to give the castle a bit of a remodelling. By which I mean they blew up parts of it, including the Great Keep, to prevent it being used as a military stronghold again. They weren't exactly known for their subtle approach. You can still see the damage today. Talk about holding a grudge. Of course, no self-respecting castle would be complete without a few resident ghosts, and Helmsley doesn't disappoint. Legend has it that the ghost of a starving soldier from the Civil War era roams these very walls, probably still looking for those stale biscuits. And if that wasn't spooky enough, there's also talk of a green lady who glides through the grounds at night. No word on whether she's eco-conscious or just a fashion victim. Maybe she lost a bet, or maybe she just likes the colour green. Who are we to judge? Speaking of mysteries, I've heard whispers of hidden treasures within these ancient walls. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't resist a good treasure hunt. Could this be it? The lost jewels of Helmsley? Oh, never mind. Just another bucket. Maybe next time. But Helmsley Castle isn't just about crumbling walls and ghostly apparitions. The surrounding area is a veritable treasure trove of historical goodies. You've got Rievaulx Abbey, a Cistercian monastery with enough ruins to keep you busy for hours. It's the perfect place to practice your Gregorian chanting, or to have a picnic amongst the crumbling arches. And if you want to see our video on this, please click above. However, if you're feeling energetic, why not tackle the Cleveland Way National Trail? It's a mere 110-mile trek that takes you through some of the most stunning scenery in Yorkshire. Just remember, pack a good pair of walking boots and an industrial-sized tube of blister cream. Well, folks, that's Helmsley Castle in a nutshell. A surprisingly rectangular fortress with a fascinating history, quirky architecture, and enough spooky tales to keep you entertained for hours. It's a place where history comes alive, even if some of that history involves slightly questionable architectural choices. If you ever find yourself in North Yorkshire, be sure to pay this unique castle a visit. You won't be disappointed, and who knows, you might even spot the Green Lady or stumble upon a rusty old bucket. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to Highland Explorer for more adventures in history. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like our exploration of Rievaulx Abbey, another Yorkshire gem with its own unique charm. Until next time, happy exploring.